Hello and welcome back. If you remember at the end of the last episode, I found a way of making the guitar back and front by putting it in a press, heating it into the mould and then gluing it together. And we left the end of the last episode with the guitar back in the press with some bricks on. So let's see if it's actually worked. So it's the next day, it's been 24 hours. Here it is, I've taken the bricks off, fingers crossed this time. So lifting the lid. The lid comes off and it looks all right. I can feel the relevant lumps and bumps in the right places. Let's lift it up and see. It's not stuck. And okay, that's not too bad. I've got the bumps. Again, I can feel these. Can you see them? Not easily. What about the rest of it? I've got the, oh dear. Now I've got some lumps and bumps here. Okay, there's lumps and bumps that aren't supposed to be there. And on this side, yeah, I've got those there as well. So, can I get it so that you can see it? It's not quite, but it feels very solid. It feels really solid. So that's a good start. Now obviously there are gaps at the edge because I didn't put the glue all the way to the edge. I put it just inside so that I wouldn't get covered in glue, but it's basically together. It's not deforming, and it's roughly the right shape. You can even drop it on the floor and it stays in shape. So that is definitely the best one yet. Now maybe I'll use that. Maybe these lumps and bumps I can take out with a bit of sanding and a bit of filler. Because the basic shape is there, and it doesn't seem to be particularly deforming, so I'm fairly pleased with that. Let's have a think about it. I might even just put the next layer on, so I might flip it over, put the third layer on, and that's the first finished one that we'll have got that's not a nightmare. So here we go. I brought it back down into the garage now, and this is still sitting really nicely with no weight on it. So the last ones, and I've got them down here, you can see what's happened. The old ones just warped straight away in a quite significant ways, whereas this one is actually sitting quite nicely there. It's not significantly peeling away. So I'm going to take the chance that I'm going to be able to use sanding and filler to get the top smooth. And I've got the final layer. So this is another layer of maple. So this is the third layer in the sandwich. So I can bounce that on top of there. I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. I've got it in my Go Bar press, and I'm going to use Go Bars, and I'm going to heat it with my handheld heater, and I'm going to shrink that to fit, or at least bend that to fit. So I'm back in the warm again, got the new piece that I've just shaped ready, and then got some of the old Cascamite again. So this time what I'm going to do, rather than using a brush, I'm going to use some of these little pieces of wood that I've planed flat so I can use it as a scraper and see if that's any better. And I've got another bit that I'm going to use as sort of a spoon, if you like. So I'm spooning it out. And then we'll see how that works with my little scraper. Okay, that's the glue, and it did go on a lot easier, and I've put a bit more on this time. I've emptied the entire thing onto it, so I've got a nice thick layer. Let me take the top. Carefully position, and let's set the lid on. And I'm thinking one of the things that might have happened last time was that the stuff was allowed to deform inside the malt. I'm wondering if I perhaps didn't put enough weight on. Also, the bit at the bottom was a bit old and deformed. I've put it back together about 4 times from some other attempts. So maybe it was too deformed to use in the first place. So this time, all the weight on again, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, it's time to take the top off again. Let's see what we've got this time. Here we are. Feels okay. Okay, there we are. It's pretty solid. It's cracking a bit around the edges where it makes a cracking noise, because obviously I didn't put glue all the way to the edges, but that's not too bad at all. That shape is okay. It's okay. It's pretty much smooth, and obviously there's not as much curvature as in the top layer, but that is all right. That's not bad at all. Again, this side is still got lumps and bumps in it. So there's the first one off the press. I think what I'm going to do is make a second one and see if it's any better. If the second one is significantly better in terms of how it performs here, then I'll think about making a third one as well. If the second one is similar, I might have to try filling. You can't quite make out those, but there's like undulations in it. I suspect those are from the glue. The glue contains water, and so I suspect the glue gets absorbed into this, and it causes it to warp a little bit. One thing I might try is to put epoxy instead. So back to the epoxy, but put a lot more of it, and then see if that works any better. Here we go then. This is attempt number 4. I'm ready with try number 4. I've got the thing, I've done the heating, that's done. I've got the next layer as well, which is also heated to shape. So this time I'm going to use epoxy again. I'm going to use more than I did the first time round, but it all went wrong. It was also a little bit wet last time when it all went wrong. So I'm hoping this time we'll get a better result. So first of all, that's one tube of epoxy, and I've got my flat edge scraper. I'm using it to mix. Tube 2, same deal. So that's on. Now the top layer. I'm just making sure there's glue in contact with everything. Okay. Take the lid again, make sure it's the right way up. Plop that in place. This time I'm going to apply even more weight than last time. I've got some extra bricks. Right, so that's all the bricks that I've got. Hopefully this time we've applied enough pressure that it's going to force it into the right shape. Last time, because we used water-based glue, I think we ended up with ripples in the base layer. Let's see how this goes. Let's see how this goes. Right, come back tomorrow morning. This has had time to cure. I've taken the bricks off it, so let's see what we've got, shall we? This is number 4, remember? Okay, seems to have held the shape. Now what have we got? That is much better. That, now again, it's hard to see on the video, but you can see that we've got that domed shape on it, and we've got the raised parts here around the horny parts. So that finally looks like something that we can work with. Fantastic. Fourth time lucky, as the old saying goes. Just need now to put the third layer of maple on, so I'll do that. I'll probably use Cascamite again for that because I'm a cheapskate. I've got some of that left over. The main thing was it seems that Cascamite, because it's water based, was causing the top layer to sort of shrivel or to undulate. Now that's not ideal on the outside, but on the inside I think we can get away with a little bit of that, so not too bad. Fantastic. So that's there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that in the mould, because coming back to the other one that I nearly used, which is this one, you'll see at the edges what started to happen is it started to curl up. So again, the maple has started to raise up, and that's not ideal. Both sides have done it, in fact. So obviously there's a weak point here on the edges where the curling up of the wood is so profound that it's actually breaking the glue. I mean, that's gone right back to where the glue was. So to break through the Cascamite, I mean, it's gone quite a long way back. So that's interesting. So what I'm going to do is to leave the new one, which is obviously, hopefully won't do it because I use different glue, to leave that there, and when I come to use it, glue it straight onto the main guitar so it doesn't have a chance to warp. So that's interesting, and there's there you can see that it's warping. So it's still, I mean, this is the best one until this one, number 3, but it's still, there are still issues with it there. Still issues with, I think it's with moisture, moisture, humidity, temperature is all having an effect on these things. So the new one is going to live inside the house in the warm, where the temperature is much more consistent. I'm trying not to take it out into the garage except when I have to. So there we go. Let's finish off this, and what I'll do is I'll just make one of them, and then as I said, I'll stick it onto the guitar, and then I'll make the second one, so that I don't have to leave one standing out on its own to do what it feels and to curl itself up into strange shapes. So I'm going to put the top on. Mixed up some more Cascamite, so let's just go for it again. Stick the top on. Okay, on with the top. Then comes the lid. And comes all the weight in the world. There we are. Leave that for 24 hours and we'll see what we've got. So we've pretty much come full circle on this episode. We started fetching something out of the press that I thought was going to be right, and we've ended up making a new one and putting that in the press, getting a much better result, in fact. And so the start of the next episode, we're going to get that one out of the press, and it should be the final finished working guitar back. So I hope that was useful or maybe interesting. Don't forget to press the subscribe button, and maybe I'll see you next time.